are. Also, I think I finally fixed my damn lights, so there shouldn't be any weird shadow anymore, right, directly in front of the camera. So that's really nice. Also, this is the Lego Dragon from the D&D Lego set. It is really freaking cool. Um, I've got that Lego set on my desk still, so the dragon is still here. And I just had to move him because he was hoarding my green stuff. So we're going to be needing the green stuff today because we're working on Fantasy Death Cube. So from last time, we did all sort of our base colors last time. What I've done since then is I went through and I made myself a custom wash out of some brown and some black and some green paint. So to make that wash, it was brown paint, black paint, green paint, and a little bit of isopropyl alcohol. You can use like a washing up liquid, but I didn't have any that I like wanted to use. Usually when you use the washing up liquid, it does make it can make it a little bubbly, so it's something I wanted to avoid. So I used isopropyl instead. Um, and basically what that does is you get really watered down paint, and then you add an additional additive to it, in this case isopropyl or washing up liquid, and what that does is it makes the surface tension break. So it doesn't sit like as evenly and kind of drops faster, if that makes sense. So I did that to do the base, um, all these guys here, and then I also got this guy painted up. So this is sort of the roof cover. I dremeled a big old butthole right in the middle of him so that the people can get down into the ruin. Now I did that kind of like straight in the middle. Hello! I did that kind of like straight in the middle because then there's always going to be one ingress point, and it's kind of be this kind of central shaft. So that way this section of the board has a reason, right? Because usually, because the middle of the board's a little bit harder to get to in these kind of death cubes, um, that because of that, I wanted it to have a reason to be played, as opposed to kind of everything happening out on the sides. So there's always going to be one central in and out point. Um, and the nice thing is that this top here is built to be flat like this. So I can put my own terrain on top. So I can kind of build different city layouts and whatever and use kind of my existing terrain for that. And the nicety is that if I want to hide the hole and just do something like that, and now I kind of have a city with like a little secret butthole that they can go into. So pretty cool. I purposely tried to make these bricks a different color than the stuff down in like the crypt. Um, just because I figured it would have been seen different weathering and stuff. So after that, everything then got another dry brush with the light gray. I think it was elephant gray. That we did. Excuse me. Everything got that dry brush again after I did the wash on everything, just to try to brighten it up a little bit. And it's really nice. The stone kind of ended up getting a couple different like kind of colors to it. So there's some brown in there. There's a little bit of kind of like lighter brown, a couple of tones of gray. You can see a couple of spots where I did do a great job with the dry brushing afterwards, but overall I'm pretty happy with it. So after that, I went ahead and I did some texture paint from Vallejo. So this is Russian earth, kind of mud kind of paint, right? And you can see it. The wash I used on the floor was a little sludgy, so it kind of blends in, I think, really well with the dark earth, right? But it just gives it a little bit more texture. And then I went ahead and I did some mixed flock from the train people, Woodland Scenics. I did some mixed flock here and there. So just because I wanted some more color in this, right? I was originally going to do flocking in my death cube, but then I was like, oh, well, this one, I don't know. I always kind of got the feeling it was kind of a dry environment. This I feel like is kind of like a little bit of like a wet, kind of dank, cave kind of thing, right? Like you're not going to be running into mummies in this, but you'll be running into like zombies covered in mushrooms or like rotted undead, but you won't be running into like Anubis in here kind of thing. Um, so I went ahead and did that. I will be doing tufts still. I still have to top coat this. She still needs a full top coat again. So just to lock in the grass. Um, so that'll be happening with it. And then I'll do the tufts. I don't like to do the top coat before I do the tufts because the tufts um, they can kind of get clumped together with the top coat if you're too heavy with it. So I'll do the tufts afterwards. Now I do want to do something else to this to get some more color in here. And throughout this whole thing, there are these little alcoves. So what I'm going to do today is we're going to go around to a bunch of the little alcoves and we're going to put little candles in them. So I've got these little candles here. These are actually FDM 3D printed. I printed off a couple different sets of them and then primed them. But yeah, they're actually FDM 3D printed and they look fantastic. Now, what else is FDM 3D printed is this robot. Like, legitimately, could you tell me this is an FDM print? Because I couldn't tell you it's an FDM print. Like, I am blown away. Like, the chain of the ammo, the tubes. Like, yeah, maybe it doesn't have as, but like, the grit in the tubes, you can feel it with your finger, right? Like this came out as good as I would expect from resin, right? The little tip on the gun, little holes there. Like I am blown away by how well this came out. So I have a Bamboo Labs H2C, which is a very fancy, gigantic printer that looks like a massive like oven you could cook a child in. But it did an amazing job. And this is even at 1 millimeter or one layer height, not the 0.08 that they recommend for doing miniatures at. So this is even almost double the layer height of what they recommend. Um, so pretty crazy. So I did him, and then I did this guy as well. So this guy, he's from a miniature guy that used to do a bunch of kind of like, it's not, it might be Vermilion. No, it's like Vermilion miniatures. It does a lot of like Fallout kind of stuff. And started doing only 15 millimeter stuff. This guy's from Warp Miniatures. He's one of their kobolds. And that's what he looks like. Now, I'm doing a little warband. So I've got Dragon Mommy here. So she's going to be a mage for a warband for maybe Frostgrave or something like that. And then all of her little troopers are going to be kobolds. Well, I'll tell you right now, the fucking FDM kobold looks as good as that resin kobold. Yeah, I am. Like, even his teeth are in there, his little tongue. Like, I am blown away at the quality of this FDM print. Yeah, so anyway, I'm printing the rest of my kobolds in FDM so I can get her a whole little team to play with. Because when I printed her, I didn't print enough pieces to build all the kobolds because I was just testing it out because my resin printer's kind of like hinky at the moment because it's had a long tour of duty. Um, but yeah, completely blown away. So one of the things I plan to do today is we'll probably actually start painting this guy so we can see how he is to paint together. So that's something else we'll try. So. Oh, and by the way, I should say I didn't do shit to these. I know there's this whole like FDM, resin to FDM conversion program thing. Yeah, I didn't do fucking any of that. Uh, yeah, I just used the pre-supported supports and printed these out. Same with the kobolds. I did nothing to them. Uh, yeah, it's crazy. I am well impressed. All right, but let's get to our candling. So what are we gonna do? First off, we're gonna pull some of the candles off. I might actually need nippers for that. And then once we get some of the candle off, what we're gonna do is we're gonna use some green stuff and we're gonna put it down in the alcove and like kind of tease it out a little bit so it looks like melting wax. That's kind of the concept for this. So we'll have a little bit of kind of like melting wax base for each candle, and then we'll have the candle uh shit. We'll have the candle kind of pointing out. Like we'll have the candle kind of like sit on the top of it and look like it's kind of like caused the melted wax. So that's a candle, and that's how that works. I know things. I know how things work. That's a lie. I don't know shit, but I'm still here. So, anybody's ever used green stuff before? You mix blue and yellow, and one is like the actual thing, and one is like an activator. Um, and it becomes like a pseudo plastic. Um, but it's kind of sticky, and you can sculpt with it like it's putty, but you don't have to heat it up at all. Really fantastic. I absolutely love green stuff. I don't think you guys need to see me kneading the green stuff, but this is what I'm doing just slightly off of camera down here. I'm just kneading the blue and the yellow together. Now, green stuff, it is sticky, so wet your fingers, wet your tools, and you'll have a much easier time. We're going to need a lot more than this, but we'll start with this. So there we go. So then what we do is we cut one of these guys. We got all these little dongers holding them on. These candles, by the way, they're from my mini factory. They were a free file. I do not remember the name of the page that did these though, but they're fantastic and they have all kinds of ones like seashells, little sea critters, all kinds of stuff. I am big impressed with, or I use a lot of their stuff. So, all right. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna take our green stuff, put it in the alcove like that, and kind of tease it down a little like that. And then our candles, they bloop in right on top. And then what we should have at the end is, once it dries, we should be able to paint that down, and then it should look like we got some wax dripping down underneath our candles there. Now the green stuff is sticky. It will hold a little bit. But we are going to want to help it out just the tiniest bit with a little tiny little kiss of super glue. Just a little tiny bit, just so it's got a little something something on it. All right, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to kind of go around and do different spots with the candles. So some of these are going to be kind of like a couple independent candles, and some of them are going to be like that one where it's like a big clump. The 3D Maker has kind of both styles. Um, and you can kind of print out as you wish. So there we go. That kind of dripping down. And then we'll go and get I should stop trying to break them off, and I should just use the nippers. Go and get this guy and pop him in there. Just like that. Yeah. Awesome. These are the same candles I used on the basis of my blueberry ghosts. So now the fun thing is this is we can also do some where they're not like in the alcoves, but they're kind of just sitting around. I think that'll be kind of fun too. Um, so like maybe we'll do that down here, down in this one. Uh, really should get some kind of pokey tool for this. We'll have that kind of drip in there, and then we'll get a little set of candles for that one. And the so much of this is gray that I kind of wanted some more color. That was sort of the thinking behind putting the plants, um, the tufts there. That was kind of thinking behind that. Um, yeah, see, like so, like that guy down there. I don't know if you guys can even see that. We'll zoom in. All right, so like that guy down there, we'll put him there, and then what we'll do is we'll put like a little freestanding candle there, and it'll just create a little bit of like variation and look pretty cool. Um, so you don't really want them to be completely the same, you know what I mean? We want some variation in them. And the green stuff on the bottom is just to kind of blend out their idea, you know, that their candle's kind of melting to the ground more than anything else. You know, it's kind of to give them that kind of base. All right, just like that. And that's what we wind up with. And then we go and we kiss it a little bit with super glue. And super glue is going to be a little bit shiny, but since we are going to be doing a matte top coat, it'll be okay. But we'll do that after we paint the candles. But obviously, we're not going to get to paint the candles today on stream. Um, Now, if I run out of FDM candles, I do have some resin candles that I might use, but the resin one's actually printed out really small, so I'm trying not to use them if I can avoid it. Um, yeah. Yep. We go in here and we push this down. I could do stuff like skulls and all too, but I think I'll resist that urge and not cover everything in skulls. But this is very much one of those things where like I think the next steps for a lot of people would be to put like skulls and little swords and stuff in the alcoves, and then maybe to do like some blood splatter and stuff. But I think we're gonna avoid that and have those kind of little details really be from the scatter more than anything. But yeah, so there's two little alcoves with candles, and the candles will get all painted up. I'm gonna do them in some kind of warm color, I think. Just so they stand out a little bit more. And that's kind of the intent of them is to get some more color on this whole thing. So I really want to, I want to do that. You know what I mean? So, all right, there we go. We got another one here. Just gonna kind of have him there, and we'll get a little candle guy for that one. Or not, we'll just throw it on the floor. Throw it on the ground. I haven't thought about that song in so long, and then YouTube recommended it to me. And I'm like, oh my god, this song is like a trillion years old now. I feel very old. Alright, little candle there. Hells to the air. Let's see if I can find that one that I threw on the ground. My floor is covered in lots of little bits and bobs at the moment, so. Really got to get under there and under my desk and vacuum. Because there's all kinds of little like black pieces down there. All right, that one's dead to us. It's fine. We don't need it anyway. We don't need him. As my desire with these isn't to like fill every alcove with candles. It's more just to kind of like do a couple of them, so we sort of have so we have some variety. You know what I mean? And we have some variation in kind of the color going around this thing. Give it a nice little color pop here and there, is sort of the goal. Okay, if I could stop dropping them, that would be amazing. Where the hell did that one go? It's probably immediately. Oh, it's in my beard. That's where I should have guessed it was. All right. There we go. And then the green stuff also helps for when they don't 100% fit, like, because the candles are slightly too fat. So it helps kind of even that out a little bit, even out the edge there a little bit. It's like you can see it in this one particularly. Um, you know, this guy's fatter than the thing, the alcove here. There we go. Yeah, maybe we'll actually put a little bit more green stuff on that one, I think. There we go. There we go. That solves our problem. A little bit extra green stuff in there. Just to widen that out a little bit, you know what I mean? And then we'll actually go ahead and we'll actually put another candle down in front. I think that's fun. Sorry, it's very hard to kind of show off exactly what I'm doing here because it's such small, tiny work. See, this is the kind of thing like a professional YouTuber wouldn't make a video about. They would have just been like, I use green stuff and these 3D printed candles, and look how amazing it looks. That's what they would have done. But I like to share the actual hobby bits, so even if they don't make the best videos, I like to share off the process. Okay. So once again with feeling, um, we got some more candles. All right. So I'm not really blocking any of these out. I'm trying to make a point to get kind of all around at least a little bit, but I'm not like earmarking any of these candles, if that makes sense. Needs a little bit more. So this next one, I think we're going to put him down here, I think. Try putting it on the candle and then putting it in the hole. We'll see how that works. think that works really well. Okay. And then we'll put another one up here. We'll do like one of these little candles, these little candle clumps. Because I kind of purposely put a lot of these alcoves kind of in the center guy. Um, just because I thought it looked neat, right? Like maybe this is like a central like prayer spot or something. Um, so I just thought it looked cool. But it also is going to make a good place for a lot of candles. Oop, just like that. All right, let's see. There's one over here. We'll do that one. Whoop, there we go. We'll do this guy, and then maybe we'll do that guy. That guy's got a couple. Do I have any down under here? Not really. You know, I could put one like up here. Actually, that would be kind of cool, actually. Yeah, let's do that. So it's not like in the alcove, but it's still kind of out of the way, so it's not going to get hit by miniatures and stuff. Because these FDM candles are pretty robust, but these are a very tiny detail that would be broken very easily. So I kind of want them, you know, out of the way, you know? So nobody's going to like hit them with their minis and stuff like that. All right. What am I? Oh, yes. My makeshift tool here. I can just tease that down a little bit. There we go. Just like that. Okay. Go, and then we hit that guy. We hit both of those. We didn't hit this guy, so let's do that. And that one down there too. Perfect. Okay. All right. Let's put one over here. But yeah, I'm so impressed by how well the FDM printer has done for miniatures and stuff. I just am like absolutely shocked. I actually have some more printing right now. I've got more bits for little robots printing. Um, so yeah, it's pretty cool. More like that junk bot that I showed off. More like him, like actually from that same line even. So, because I saw what was the name of that? The Mandalorian and Grogu. I saw that and the trash droids in that. Oh my god, I fell in love with them. So I was like, I want to paint something really like crazy, like different colors and rusty. Um, so I was like, okay, trash droids. So I found some trash droids that I liked and was like, all right, these are it, man. Um, so my plan is to do that with that mini. And we will try painting that mini a little bit today because I want to see how the FDM minis paint because I have not actually seen that yet. All right, what do we have here? We have one big one, another kind of big one. We got a couple little small ones and a couple kind of individual-y kind of ones. Okay, so I've got 6 total candles left after this next guy that I'm about to place right now. And then if I really, really, really want more, I can go and get some of the resin candles, but they're a little smaller. All right, let's go ahead. Let's get our little kiss of super glue on those guys. There we go. Okay. All right, so I got 5 left. Where do we want to put them? Thinking maybe one right here, because that would be a nice place for that color to come out. Could put one like here, but I do see minis potentially standing on that, so I kind of don't want to put anything there. Yeah, I do see. I could put it like in the crevasse, but that might be kind of cool actually. Yeah, I'll think about that. Could put one down here on this windowsill. Let's do that. I like that. Let's find one for that one. A little bit bigger one. Yeah, here we go. So windowsill's fairly large. All right, yeah, that'll be good. That'll get a. So like, as you're looking at it, I kind of want little splashes of that color kind of all around. That's sort of the goal. All right, I do want one in here. Which one? I don't know, but I want one of them. Um, and these ruin pieces are supposed to be modular, but because I've kind of made them not modular, um, it does make getting into some of the little crevices a little harder. But it does also mean that I can do details like this. I mean, I guess probably you could do details like this and keep them modular, but um, one of the goals of the death cubes is to reduce the activation energy needed to play a game, so that by the time I'm done setting up, I'm not too tired to actually play the damn game. So because of that, it's one of the reasons why they are not modular anymore. Shit. And I had that realization after I built my modular or pseudo modular, what is that called? Necromunda board. Where the hell? Wait, what the hell happened to this one? Okay, I don't know what happened to that one. It like completely broke. Maybe I broke the what are they called? The little flames off of it, maybe? The wicks. Because the wicks, even in FDM, on these Kindles are very fragile. They are doubly fragile in resin to the point where lots of times when you print them out, you won't, the wicks, like, just cleaning them, usually you'll break the fucking wicks. Just one of the reasons why I'm going to have to paint the candles like they have a lot of color to get the color pop, so. Okay. All right, let's see how many we got. Minus the one I just broke. So we got 4 left. Could put one down like there. Might not be bad. One in there would probably be pretty cool. Let's do that. Yeah, I like that idea a lot. A really big cluster in there would be cool. More green stuff then. Yeah, see it's sticking really bad to my hands. That's because my hands are not wet. So, all right, let's see what we got. I got this guy back in there. Oh, I did it backwards. God damn it. I can tease the green stuff out a little bit. Like that. So that'll be cool. A little bit of hidden back in there, and then we got two left. We've got a kind of big one and a kind of smallish clump. Candle does not like that place. Come on. Oh my god. This candle is being a real pain in the tail. Stay, you bastard. Thank you. Ay, ay, ay. That one a real pain. Alright, let's see. What else do we got? I got two more. Where do I want to put them? I don't have any underneath here. Kind of want to put any under there. There's not really any good spots for it. I guess there's alcoves here. Shit. All right. Well, I guess we'll put one there then. I guess we should put it on the inside here. Yeah. Where we should put it. I forgot I could use alcoves over the door. Do I have another set of these somewhere? I swore I used two sets of that one. Oh, I used it down below. Yeah. Yeah, so I guess we could actually do our last candle set down below there as well. Alright, so let's see. That guy's there. And then our candle goes in there. Like that. Looks pretty good. Ugh. Alright, the last one goes on the ground over here. That's right. So we have some color here on the inside. Might actually put it right there instead. Yeah, let's do that. It'll be a little bit more visible then. Yeah, I could definitely use more candles. But I'll go ahead, let these dry, get these painted, and then see how it goes up from there, I think. All right, and there we go. That's all of our little candles on. And there'll be nice little splashes of color as we go around. All right, let's play around with some other FDM then. I moved over to the side. And what we're going to do is we're going to play around with some of the John Blanche paints. So I've been using these for a little bit. I just got these right before I went to Big Island, so I haven't got a ton of use out of them. But man, there's some cool colors in here. Um, where are you? Damn it! Give me one sec. How the hell did I lose? Oh, no, it's technical. There it is. Okay. About to say, man, what the hell? So, pardon super nasty paint cut, but I wanted to kind of play around with this on stream for the FDM minis. So, it says heavy metal. This is an amazing color. This is in that John Blanche paint set. I know there's like 4 other of these now. This one I thought had the coolest colors, and I wanted to pick one of them up because I don't know. John Blanche passed away. That kind of made me sad because he was sort of like an artist for an era. You know what I mean? Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff in here. There's a really cool effect rust paint. There's a fantastic set of greens, really nice kind of browny ochre color. There's also a purple that is phenomenal called mulled berry. Oh, there it is. It's just blanched berry. It's just a amazingly cool purple. You know, we'll actually start off with that. We'll start off with the cool purple. Yeah, you can just see what a freaking cool color it is. So the intent is to kind of do these as like the trash bots, like from the Mandalorian and Grogu kind of that same kind of like I'm a robot and I've kind of rebuilt myself. You know, they're kind of like rusty and put together from different ones and stuff. So that's kind of the intent with painting these. or at least my intent. So I'm going to kind of do a couple different colors. And I think if I kind of stick to these John Blanche paints, minus maybe adding like a blue, I think it should look pretty darn cool. Um, so first shake, these are painting up fantastic. Not getting any weird like layer lines or anything like that. And it's just taking paint like normal. Same way I'd paint like a resin or a plastic mini. It's just it's in FDM. See what I just did there? Where I went back to the area that was kind of drying and hit it again? Yeah, you shouldn't ever do that. What you end up doing is you end up tearing the acrylic mesh that your pigments are stuck in, and it's actually bad. It'll lead to tearing and weird textures, and yeah, you should definitely not do what I just did there. Um, and I just did it again. Yeah, don't do that. That's bad. All right, let's see. Ooh, Tainted Garden. All right, hold on. Let me hit it with the fancy vibro shaker. Yeah, the vibro shaker my husband got me is really cool. It looks like some kind of like a garbage sex toy from Timo, but it's really neat. It spins a like magnet around, so when you have ball bearings in your paint, it like hits the ball bearing and like whizzes them around. It's really cool. It's a really neat idea of how to do that. I use it a lot, especially for brand new paints. Holy shit, that color's fantastic. Wow, okay. I did not expect to like that color as much as I do. That's going to get used for lots of things. Wow. Damn, all right then. Yeah, this is painting just like a regular mini. Like there's nothing weird about it. It's like not behaving oddly. Um, it's being great for being the first ever FDM mini that I printed or painted. And well, not technically printed because I printed that Cobalt first, but first one that I painted. Like I am legitimately blown away by this thing. All right, you know what we need to do? We really need to do the metal parts on him before I keep doing any armor because the metal's kind of blocking all the armor. Or the armor's kind of sitting on top of all the metal. So I really need to do the metal. And I'm going to be honest, there are some things I think that actually lend themselves very well to printing in FDM. And I think some like trash robots is definitely that kind of thing. Because if there are mistakes, um, it just becomes part of the design, right? Like this isn't some like beautiful, immaculate elf or something. You know what I mean? So if there are printing mistakes here. Not that I can see any, but if there are, they'll just kind of blend in with the trash robotness of our trash bot, you know? So I think that that works fairly well. From like a conceptual kind of standpoint, you know? Want to do the energy cables as like a pop color, maybe? Maybe do all the cables in like a super bright, like neon blue or something. To keep into this kind of like John Blanche, like Zorn palette, it should probably be like a red. But it being different might look really neat, so. But yeah, just gonna go ahead and hit all these. All the parts I think should be metally metal, so they can metal while they metal, you know? And then we'll get back to painting the armor in. So rule for the armor, I think I want to always do 2 spots of a color. I think that's my rule, or my go-to here. And this shoulder pad's really big. Maybe we'll do something like hazard stripes on that. Or maybe like an orc style checker pattern would be kind of cool. I was just playing some of the old Warhammer game, Return to Reckoning. And all the orc stuff has like little checker patterns on it, and I really, like I did that on my orcs, and I really like it. I think it looks really neat. So maybe we'll do a checker pattern on this guy. But first objective, get all his metal pits painted. And we also got to do his gun. Yeah, I think a tan would be really good for some of the pieces. So I think we'll definitely do a tan. And then, I don't know, kind of feeling like a blue or something. With the green and the purple, I think that'll be neat. And then what I'll do is if I do a bunch of these junk bots, I'm going to do a couple of them at least. What I'll do is I'll keep one color the same on all of them and then potentially switch out the other colors. I'll kind of just grab the other colors as I'm feeling at the minute, you know what I mean? So maybe I'll keep like the tan the same. Maybe the color I use for all the energy cables, you know, maybe I'll keep that the same as well. And like maybe like the this like metal color, we'll keep that the same. And that way there's just some consistency. So that when they stand next to each other, like you know they're kind of like the same force, you know? Um, Even though they're going to be kind of like a horde of junk bots, you know? You'll at least have some consistency in there, which is pretty cool. All right. Yeah, let's do checker patterns. So let me do that shoulder in black. And then we'll paint in the white. Now give the black time to paint. And we'll kind of leave that as a pop color, so we won't do anything else in this black. And I can see if I remember how to do checker pattern. there's a trick to it where you paint like lines or something. I'm trying to remember. I haven't painted a lot of orcs since I did my orange alls. All right, cool. All right, I want a tan. Also grabbing an orange alls to see if I can remember how I did their checker patterns. But yeah, they're pretty dope. I'm very happy with how they came out. Yeah, I don't remember how I did that. But yeah, really happy with my orange alls. They're super dope. I thought orange alls got a new model in a long time. I think the last thing they got was that big pig, right? And I painted the pig because he's awesome, fantastic model. But I don't think they've gotten anything in a long time. Maybe they have. I really not keeping up with Warhammer these days. Like hell, the new edition of 40K came out. This is the first time in uh, 3 editions that I didn't buy a launch box. Because I have the 8th edition, I have the 9th edition, I have the 10th edition launch box. Yeah, this is the first time I didn't buy one. Ironically, and it has orcs in it, right? So you think I would have been like, hell yeah. But honestly, I'm just never going to like. I'm really probably never going to play a lot of the big army games. I just don't play them anymore. So, like, as I want new orc models, I'll just go and buy a box of new orc models. Getting like a starter box like that doesn't really interest me like it used to. Because I just know I'm not going to really play a lot of those minis. Like maybe if I could just get the orc half, I'd buy it. But like even then, I have a whole bunch of orc models right now I haven't painted. I've got a got like a big heavy truck. I have a Death Dread, and I love building a Death Dread. Making a new Death Dread every year is kind of like a thing that I've been doing for a couple of years now. Just because the Death Dread is like probably my favorite GW kit. The Death Dread and the Blight Lords. I think they got rid of the Blight Lords kit though. I think, which is a real shame because that is a god tier kit. So many options and cool combinations, and I think they got rid of it though. I've actually been meaning to like repaint all of my Nurgle stuff because I really liked how I did those Pestigore I got. Yeah, I super loved how they came out, so I kind of wanted to redo all my Nurgle stuff to match them because I felt like they had the really good combination of like gross but still like nice looking. I really liked that, so I've been wanting to redo all my Nurgle stuff to match it. All right. So yeah, just getting some of the tan now out. And the tan will, it's going to kind of keep it from looking too much like a freaking circus. You know what I mean? Um, it's going to be kind of the neutral color to the like crazy mishmash bits and bobs of the trash spots. So it should work pretty good. Let me get you a little zoomed in there. Or kind of zoomed out. Apologies about that. I saw the camera set up for looking at the death cube, and then I was just kind of going. My bad, my bad. Didn't mean that. So you can actually see what I'm doing now. There we go, and then we'll actually do the faceplate in tan too. I think the tan will also kind of match the Roger Rogers a little bit, so I don't know. It'll remind me of their kind of Star Wars inspiration, I guess, for these guys. Damn, I love that green. I legitimately might do the kobolds. We'll try it out in a second, actually. I might actually move my kobold team to that green because it's a really cool green. And we can touch these up, touch all this up. All right. Yeah, man, this is just painting up like a normal mini, which just blows my mind. Like I can't believe I can FDM print miniatures with that Bamboo Lab H2C. Right, like even the detail on his face came out really good. Right, he's got these little like metal kind of teethies there. Even that came out really, really good. All right, let's see. Yeah, you know what? We'll do this arm in tan too. I think I'll keep the hand in gunmetal maybe. Nah, it'll stand out against the gun better if I paint it in gray. I'm painting a lot of robots lately because I've been doing the Ember Obsidian Protocol stuff, and holy shit are those fun. They're like miniature gunpla. Um, fully magnetizable, or fully magnetized because you're not even supposed to glue them together. You're supposed to magnetize them so that you can swap their parts out in the game. So all the parts have different cards and stats, and yeah, they're really fucking cool. The game actually looks really fun too. Um, I was looking at the rules, and at first I was like, "Wow, this is so complicated." And then I like took a minute to like kind of think about what the rules were doing, and then I was like, "Oh, this is actually surprisingly straightforward." It just the concept for the game is a little different than normal because in the game you're playing in this really small time phrase or time like phase. So like when you shoot rockets and stuff, they don't explode in the same turn. And the really neat thing is that gives you the ability to do like kind of almost like bullet time kind of stuff, it seems like. Where like your mechs are moving so fast that they can like dodge rockets and shoot them out of the air, and I think that's really cool. Kind of sounds like a lot of like Armored Core, but on the tabletop. All right, a little sloppy, but not terrible. A little sloppy, but not terrible. Story of my life, right? All right, let's try that green out on that kobold, because then we can also, essentially look at another different 3D printed mini. Um, so some of his fingers had trouble printing, so he's kind of given the Shaka now, but uh, yeah, I think that's the only thing that really had trouble printing on him. And to be honest, they printed fine. I just kind of broke them while I was cleaning them because there was a little bit of stringiness in there. Now I'm using just some random PLA from Amazon, but supposedly there's a PLA from Sunwoo that works really well for miniature painting or miniature printing. Um, it's like Sun Sunwoo Rapid PLA or something like that. I haven't got a spool of it yet. I have to look it up again. But supposedly it's like the best one for miniature painting printing. This one that I actually printed these guys in is like kind of in like a rainbow color. Yeah, it's like a rainbow, purple, pink, black kind of highlight. It's really weird. So like the light actually kind of like shifts around on it. Um, okay, yeah, I really love this color for the kobolds. That's fantastic. Yeah. All right, now he actually really is doing a shotgun because I broke his other finger off. It was kind of broken already, to be honest. So that's from me messing around with it. It's not from the actual painting. It was kind of hanging on by a thread there. And so he's like, shaka mining time, having fun there. But yeah, see that paints up just fine, right? Look at that shit. Like, would you believe that that's FDM printed? Go on. Like I wouldn't. Like the details are fantastic. Like, yeah, it's definitely not the model you should enter in Golden Demon. That is correct. But you know what? It doesn't have to be a great looking miniature. I'm quite happy and impressed with that. Yeah, I am blown away there. All right, you know what? Let's do those checkers. Are we gonna just finish painting this guy? I'm at an hour, but he's really pretty close to being done. Well, I definitely know that I'm going to be printing some more of those kobolds because holy shit, they look good. Yeah, if I remember right, the secret to this is to do little squares, and you kind of just do steps of little squares. Now, this isn't going to produce a perfect checker pattern, but honestly, I don't want a perfect checker pattern. I mean, there's no way in hell a orc or a Gretchen's ever going to paint a perfect checker pattern, and these trash bots are definitely in that same boat. Right, we just kind of fill in the next line like that. And we just kind of fill in again. Yeah, there's something about like you paint lines and you paint like a grid and then you fill the grid in or something like that. I don't remember what it was, to be honest. And then we'll come back and we'll actually tighten up those inner black squares in a second. We'll tighten those up and that'll make it more like a checker pattern and less like a blob. So, alright, let's hit our whites so the whites are a little brighter. 3D printer just threw an error on me. That is one thing about the FDM printing. You kind of, or at least I don't feel comfortable yet doing many pieces on top of each other. And I've had the times I've had errors doing this FDM printing for miniatures has when I've done multiple things. And it's probably because like one of them is having trouble, but it might not have trouble if it was by itself. So like, yeah. All right, so I made a big old mess there. So let's go ahead and clean that up. And come back and just clean that up a little bit. You can see how it kind of transforms it pretty quick into the actual checker pattern just by cleaning up that dark color. You know, we're just looking for really kind of trying to like straighten up the lines is really our goal more than anything. And then our brain kind of likes the checker pattern then, you know. So stuff like this here, right? We should do that and make that a solid block like that. Same thing there. And you can kind of see it start to form now. There we go. Our robot's got his old checker shoulder pad, nice and easy. I'll paint his belt in because with the belt's one of the details I want to see if the paint got it really well. We'll see. I have to paint in the strap on the bullets too. Lots of time these bullet chains are actually all metal. But painting them in like there's different colors to them is a nice way to add a little bit of like detail. It's a neat little detail to add even though you don't have to usually add it. So I kind of am very curious how washes are going to behave on this guy. But to be honest, the paints are behaving perfectly fine. So I don't see any trouble. These having any trouble with washes. Maybe I'm wrong, but like I as I'm going through and doing this, it's just painting normally. There's nothing weird about this at all. So maybe washes would have trouble because of the layer lines, but honestly, I'm not feeling them with the brush. I can't feel them with my finger. Like if I touch like the rounded shoulder pad, that should be layer line hell. But I can't feel them with my finger, so I'm assuming the washes aren't going to have any trouble. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to get to the washes, just because he's going to need more time than that to cure, unfortunately. So like if we do the wash too soon, it's just going to run. So I think he's just going to need more time than we'll have on stream today. So, but yeah, I mean, he's just, I'm damn, you know. Um, we'll paint in a couple more details before we call it, though. See, like even the texture on this grenade, right? Like I can't believe that it got a lot of that working. Like that's just crazy to me. Because this is like a pineapple grenade, so it's got all the little like chunks to it. And I think I want to do the energy bits in a bright kind of contrasty color. So I think we'll do this below. And what happens is I won't do any of the armor in blue, and we'll try to keep all the armor parts in like the Zorn palette. And we'll do kind of the engine-y and the cable-y bits in this blue. Yeah, like even these cables, right? Like I can actually feel the texture in the cable, which is kind of insane for FDM. Like I said, doubly so because this guy wasn't even printed at like the recommended miniature height. I just kind of tried it on a whim, printing those candles first, and then they came out really good, and I was like, oh shit, let's try a mini. All right. Well, with that, this guy needs to. Oh, he needs copper. And maybe we'll do the heat shield on this gun in copper too. Yeah, like you can clearly see the difference in detail between the line running along the top of the heat shield and the heat shield in the barrel itself here. Like that's a pretty damn fine detail for um, FDM. Like yeah, very impressed with these, to say the least. Oh, okay, yeah, all right. Hello. Doing pretty good. I did candles on the death cube earlier, and they're curing now. And then I was playing around with some of these FDM printed minis. So paint's a little caked on there. She's got to cure some, but um, I was just blown away by the quality that I was able to get with not even the highest quality settings of an FDM mini. I printed these at 1 layer height versus the 0.8 or 0.6 or whatever it's supposed to be. Just because I was playing around to see, and like, I am big impressed with them. So you can actually see the the one on the right there is FDM printed. The one on the left is resin printed. And see, the one on the left is just slightly crisper, but like not by much. You know what I mean? It's just kind of crazy. Like, yeah, I am big shocked by the FDM printing from the Bamboo Labs H2C. And what I wanted, because I resin printed the candles that I put on the Death Cube, or no, I FDM printed them, so I kind of on a whim printed out some minis at the same time. And yeah, I'm definitely going to keep doing that because they came out really, really good. But yeah, it's really not. I am shockingly surprised. But yeah, but unfortunately, I am going to wrap up there because our candles need to, the green stuff that we used for them needs to cure. So I'll actually pull them onto the camera real quick and show them off again beforehand. But the green stuff for them needs to cure. So you can see some like here. Those are FDM printed candles with green stuff underneath to kind of try to tie it to the pillar and kind of look like it's got some like wax dripping down. So I kind of went all over and put them all over the place. There's some more down here. There's a couple here and there. Um, so what they're going to do is they're going to become my color pop on this, so that I've got kind of another color in addition to the grays and the greens. They're going to be like probably red, probably red. The whole thing, the whole candle is probably just going to be red. Um, but you can kind of see some of them, like this one here. You know, where it's like there's one candle and then another one's kind of sitting out on its own. Get that kind of idea across. But that green stuff needs to cure first. So, but on that note, I'm gonna call it there, unfortunately, because it is lunchtime, and I'm sure my husband is hungry, and I am hungry, and we're gonna get some lunch. And yeah, and then I'll be back next week, and we'll actually play a game on the Fantasy Death Cube. She's pretty much all good to go, so we will actually take her for a literal spin. And here's the top level. That the camera angle isn't set up for that one, but yeah, we'll take her for a spin next week and go on a little adventure in this tomb. And it should be pretty dope. But gonna go ahead and call it there. Thank you guys for watching. It's now food time. And yeah, have a good one and keep on keeping on. As said by my Shaka Kobold. My accidental Shaka Kobold. With his accidental Shaka. There he is. Alright.